Hello there, you who are listening to this voice and perhaps are immersed in your own world. Amid the busyness of everyday work, the harsh glare of electronic screens, or the familiar urban noise that sometimes we barely even notice anymore, try closing your eyes for a moment, if you're in a place that allows it, and listen carefully. Do you sense anything? Is it the blaring car horns slicing through the air, jolting every resting sense awake? Or the constant clacking of a keyboard, relentless and unending, like a machine that never stops, forcing us into a frantic rhythm? Or perhaps it's simply the eerie stillness of four familiar walls, which at times makes us feel more suffocated and lonely than any noise ever could. Now, let me take you a little farther away, using nothing but sounds, through a journey powered by imagination. Picture this with me, the wind whispering through towering ancient trees, trunks so massive that many people couldn't wrap their arms around them, as if they were telling thousand-year-old stories about the birth of the earth and sky, about the living beings that have passed through this place, about mysteries long asleep. Birds chirping, bright and carefree, echoing from deep within the lush green forest, each note a hopeful greeting to the dawn, a song praising the beauty of pure, uncalculated life. And there, the sound of a stream murmuring over rocks, endlessly flowing like the eternal rhythm of time itself, washing away your worries and burdens, leaving behind a strangely soothing, light feeling. How does that feel? A hard-to-describe peace, doesn't it? A vague sense of nostalgia suddenly rises up, as if you've been there before, a long time ago, as if it's part of your most distant memories, forgotten, but now gently stirring awake. Amid lifeless gray concrete blocks and dazzling neon lights that grow so bright and overwhelming at night, covering everything in an artificial veil, building an invisible wall that separates us from the real world outside. Can you still hear the most primal, instinctive call of the earth? That call is sometimes not a literal sound echoing in your ears, but a feeling, a powerful urge to breathe in air that hasn't been tainted by industrial smog, to press your bare hand against the rough, knotted bark of a tree and feel life flowing through its ancient fibers. Or to soak your bare feet in a cool stream, feeling each tiny stone massaging your soles, bringing you back to something original. Or simply to gaze at a vast blue sky, unobstructed by towering skyscrapers, so your soul can roam freely with the clouds, tossing every burden aside. This is not a flowery question, but an invitation for you to ask yourself, can you still feel that connection? Or has it sunk into oblivion? I know modern life has carried us too far, too fast, to the point that sometimes we forget who we are, where we come from, and where we truly belong. We're trapped in the endless cycle of stressful work, of complex social relationships that demand so much energy, of digital conveniences constantly vying for our attention, confining us in cramped spaces. Did you know that an astonishing study from the United States Environmental Protection Agency showed that, on average, a modern person spends over 90% of their time indoors? Yes, you didn't mishear that 90%. From cozy but tightly sealed homes, air-conditioned and sterile offices, brightly lit supermarkets bathed in artificial light, to transportation vehicles fully sealed off from the outside world. Only a tiny, pitiful percentage of our time is actually spent in contact with natural air, with the warm rays of the sun, with vibrant living plants. That's sad, isn't it? We seem to have lost our most primal instinct, the instinct of beings born to live immersed in nature, to feel each breath of the earth, every heartbeat of life. We've become citizens of an artificial world, estranged from our own origins, adrift among conveniences that sometimes leave our souls barren, thirsty for something more authentic. And perhaps deep inside you, there is always a part that longs to return. A longing to be freed from the invisible shackles of chaotic urban life, from the relentless expectations of society. A longing to reconnect with something greater, truer, and more eternal than ourselves. That is the call of nature, of Mother Earth, the call that has been forgotten through generations, yet has never fully gone silent, still smoldering in every cell of your being, waiting to be awakened. If you're feeling a bit restless, a bit inexplicably empty, a nameless sense of absence, or simply a quiet curiosity about the world outside your window, a world you mostly glimpse through images on social media or distant, beautiful documentary footage, then this is the journey for you. I'm not promising to take you straight away to an untouched rainforest or the summit of a majestic mountain. But I do promise that, over the next 90 minutes, through the philosophical, inspiring, and profound perspectives of the book Nature, we will embark together on a deep inner journey, a voyage of the soul. A journey to rewild your spirit, to peel away the artificial layers, the accumulated dust of modern life that has been draped over us, obscuring our original beauty beneath the mask of busyness. We will reclaim our most primal, purest self, the part of us that has been buried under the dust of time and the rush of daily life, under the mask of constant busyness. We will learn to once again hear the call of the wind, of birds, of streams, and above all, the call from our own hearts, from the long-forgotten instinct that is now stirring, demanding to be reconnected. Prepare yourself to open your heart, to welcome fresh perspectives and profound reflections on the inseparable relationship between humans and nature. This is not just a regular reading session where you passively absorb information, but an experience. It is an invitation, a challenge to long-held assumptions, and perhaps the beginning of a powerful awakening, a shift in how you see the world and yourself. An awakening to realize that no matter where we go, what we do, or how grand a technological empire we build, our essence is still an inseparable part of this vast and magnificent natural world. A part of a complex ecosystem that we have a responsibility to protect and deeply connect with. So, are you ready? Let's turn the first pages of the book Nature, a work that has changed the worldview of countless generations, and begin this journey of the soul. Let the words guide us back to our origins, back to ourselves, back to eternal nature. When you hear the word nature, you might immediately picture dry scientific documents, complex physical laws, or encyclopedia pages full of facts about flora and fauna. But no, I want you to set those images aside. Because in this video, and throughout our journey ahead, we will not approach nature as scientists, biologists, or physicists. Instead, we will read nature as a philosophy of life, as a great teacher, as a mirror reflecting the deepest lessons about our own lives. Think of it this way: nature is not just majestic mountains, winding rivers, or vast forests. Nature is also an ongoing story about growth, about an incredible capacity for recovery, what we often call resilience, and about the inseparable interconnectedness of all things. From the way a tiny seed sprouts and grows into a great tree through storms and gales, to the way a small stream patiently finds its way to the ocean, or how an entire ecosystem survives and thrives through mutual support. None of that is random. They are distilled lessons, powerful messages waiting for us to decode. And this is the core of this video series. We will apply a perspective I like to call humanizing nature. That is, we will translate the laws that seem to belong only to the natural world into lessons and practical principles for human life, for our careers, our relationships, and especially our personal growth. How can we be as resilient as a tree enduring a harsh winter? How can we adapt as flexibly as water weaving its way through rocks? How can we find balance and harmony in a chaotic life, like how an ecosystem maintains its stability? These are the questions we will seek answers to, not in typical self-help books, but in the very pages of nature itself. I remember once, a few years ago, when I was standing at a major crossroads in my career. Everything felt stuck. I didn't know which way to turn, whether to continue or stop, whether to listen to my head or my heart. That vague, lost feeling clung to me. To escape the spiral of overthinking, I decided to take a walk in a nearby forest. It wasn't some untouched wilderness, just a managed forest park, but it was enough for me to feel nature's breath. I walked and walked with no particular destination, letting my feet lead the way. Then I stopped next to an old tree. It wasn't massive, but its roots were tangled and deep in the soil, some even swelling above ground, wrapped around stones. I looked up at the lush green leaves on its branches, then down at the moss clinging to its trunk and the rocks. And suddenly, a thought flashed through my mind. This tree has been standing here for who knows how many years, enduring countless seasons of rain and sun, storms and winds. It doesn't fight against nature, it belongs to it. Its roots anchor deeply into the earth, drawing nourishment and creating stability. Its trunk reaches up to receive sunlight, its leaves photosynthesize to sustain life. It doesn't demand too much just to live, to exist, to fulfill its role in the ecosystem. In that moment, I realized that my problem wasn't about choosing the right or wrong path. It was that I was trying too hard to control everything, trying to move against the natural flow of life. Like that tree, I needed to find my own roots, my core values, the things that truly matter to me. I needed to learn how to reach for new opportunities while also knowing how to adapt and accept what I cannot change. I didn't need to be the strongest or the fastest. I just needed to be myself, doing my best in each moment. From that moment on, I began to look at nature with different eyes that listen and learn. And that is exactly what I want to share with you in this video series. To make our journey coherent and profound, this video will be divided into 8 main chapters. Each chapter will be a doorway opening onto a different set of lessons from the great book called Nature. Chapter 1. The Rhythm of the Seasons, Accepting the Cycle of Change. Hello my dear friends, have you ever paused and asked yourself what has allowed forests and rivers to exist for millions of years? Could it be that nature holds some secret, a timeless formula that we can apply to our own lives? In today's video, inspired by the wonderful book titled Nature, we will explore Chapter 1. The Rhythm of the Seasons, Accepting the Cycle of Change. Our goal is to view the 4-season cycle as a map that guides us through the stages of life, helping us learn to accept change and fully trust the natural process. Let's begin this journey together. Spring, a lesson in beginnings and planting intentions. Imagine a spring morning. After a long winter's sleep, the sun slowly becomes warmer. Tender green buds stir and push up from the dry soil, flocks of birds sing brightly, and the air is filled with the scent of damp earth and sap. Spring is not only the rebirth of nature, but also a powerful reminder of beginnings, of new opportunities after a long time when everything seemed dormant. In each of our lives, there are phases that are just like spring. It might be when you step into a new environment, start a new job, a new relationship, or simply decide to pursue a dream you have long nurtured. Just like a farmer sowing the first seeds into the ground after a harsh winter, this is the golden time for us to plant our intentions. Ask yourself, what is being kindled in your heart? Which dream do you want to nurture? Which idea do you want to experiment with? Spring teaches us courage. Courage to try something new, even if there is some hesitation. Courage to step out of our comfort zone after a long period that may have been filled with stagnation and self-doubt. Just as tender shoots must push through layers of soil to reach sunlight, we too need faith that, even if beginnings feel fragile, every seed sown with sincerity and good intention will have a chance to grow. Accept the fragility of beginnings, because that is the purest beauty of life. Summer, honoring peak energy and enjoying the fruits. Then, as the spring rains gradually fade and give way to brilliant golden sunlight, we enter summer. Summer is the symphony of powerful life. Trees are thick and lush, flowers bloom in dazzling colors, insects buzz with activity, and all living things seem to be at the peak of their energy. This is the time of explosive growth, of enjoying light and passion. In the journey of life, summer is the phase in which we pour all our energy and effort into the goals we set in spring. It is when we work the hardest, give our all, and see those efforts begin to bear fruit. Have you been diligently working on your project? Summer is when it starts showing promising signs. Have you patiently built a relationship? Summer is when that bond grows deeper and more enduring. Summer is not just about working, it is also about enjoying. Enjoying the fruits of your efforts, whether big or small. Learn to appreciate what you have created, what you have nurtured. This is when we have the right to be proud, to enjoy the sweet results we have worked so hard for. Don't forget to take time to celebrate even the smallest victories, because those moments will fuel your motivation. Summer reminds us of the importance of living fully, continuously growing and radiating positive energy. Autumn, the art of letting go and harvesting wisdom. After the brilliant days of summer, a cool breeze blows through, carrying with it the golden, orange, and red hues of autumn. Leaves begin to change color and slowly fall, returning to Mother Earth. Autumn has a quiet, contemplative beauty, full of depth. It is not an ending, but a time of transition, an invitation to practice the art of letting go. In life, autumn is when we look back on what has passed, evaluating both our achievements and our failures. This is the time we learn to recognize what no longer fits, what no longer serves our growth, and become willing to release it. Just as great trees shed their leaves to draw sap back into the trunk, we too learn to let go of old habits, toxic relationships, negative thoughts, or unrealistic expectations. Letting go does not mean giving up or losing. It is a courageous act of choice, creating space for better things to come. Autumn is also when we harvest wisdom from the experiences we have gone through. Each falling leaf carries a story, a lesson. Every experience in life, success or failure, is a precious seed of wisdom. Take time to reflect, to understand yourself and the world around you on a deeper level. Autumn teaches us peace in accepting nature's laws and gratitude for the lessons life has brought us. Winter, the importance of rest and inner reflection. And finally, when bone-chilling winds blow through and everything sinks into stillness, we step into winter. Trees are bare, and life seems to sleep under layers of frost and snow. Winter may look bleak, but it contains hidden strength and plays an extremely important role. It is the time for rest, inner reflection, and energy restoration. In life, winter can be the phases when we feel at a standstill, times when we face major challenges or losses, or simply a period that calls for stillness and renewal. Do not confuse this quiet with an ending. This is the stage that incubates the next cycle. Winter teaches us that we do not always need to be busy, that we do not always have to reach outward. Sometimes, what is most necessary is to turn inward and listen to our own voice. This is when we truly rest, heal our wounds, and restore depleted energy. Spend time on activities that bring peace to your soul, reading, meditating, journaling, or simply enjoying quiet moments with loved ones. Winter is an opportunity to contemplate what has passed, to draw out the deepest lessons, and silently prepare for fresh beginnings. Believe me, just as seeds hide beneath the soil waiting for spring, inside you are infinite potentials, waiting for the right time to burst forth again. Accepting life's cyclical rhythm. The 4 seasons are not just time passing, they are a grand symphony of life, of ceaseless movement and renewal. Nature teaches us that everything has cycles, and every change is an inevitable part of evolution. No season is better than another, each holds its own unique and valuable role and lesson. The purpose of understanding the rhythm of the seasons is not for us to try to speed up or delay any phase of our lives, but to learn acceptance and trust in the natural process. Embrace the season you are living in, whether it is the explosion of summer or the stillness of winter. Each stage has its own beauty and its own gifts waiting for you to discover. Trust that after a bitter winter, warm spring will come again. After hardship, new opportunities will open. That is the miraculous operation of life. We cannot control the flow of time, but we can absolutely choose our attitude toward change. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to like and share this video if you find it helpful, and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss the deep, meaningful content we will continue to explore together from the book Nature and Other Wondrous Life Philosophies. Chapter 2. The Invisible Network, the Power of Interdependence. Think about this for a moment. A single tall tree, standing in a green forest, does it truly exist all by itself? Or a brilliant entrepreneur achieving resounding success, was that achievement purely the result of individual effort? Perhaps we need to take another look at how we define independence and success. I remember once reading a study about forests, and it completely changed the way I see the world. Scientists call it the Wood Wide Web, an internet of trees. Sounds strange, doesn't it? But that is exactly what it is. Beneath the damp soil, a marvelous underground world is at work. Billions upon billions of microscopic fungal threads, filaments so fine they are almost invisible to the naked eye, are weaving through and connecting the roots of most of the trees in the forest. This is not just a simple physical network. It is a communication system, a highway of information and resources. These fungi, called mycorrhizal fungi, are incredible brokers. They absorb nutrients from the soil like phosphorus and nitrogen and exchange them for sugars produced by trees through photosynthesis. It is a mutually beneficial relationship we call symbiosis. But the story doesn't stop at nutrient exchange. What's even more astonishing is how trees use this fungal network to communicate and support one another. An old mother tree, with roots that have sunk deep into the ground, can transfer nutrients, water, and carbon to young saplings struggling beneath the dense canopy, where sunlight barely reaches. Just like a mother nourishing her children. Not only that, this network also acts as an early warning system. When a tree is under attack from pests or facing drought, it can send chemical signals through the fungal network to its neighbors. Those nearby trees, upon receiving the warning, can start boosting their defenses, preparing for the impending threat. Remarkable, isn't it? The entire forest behaves like a united organism, with no individual standing outside the common struggle. Even different species, for example, a maple and a pine, can connect and share resources via this fungal web. We often think they compete, but in reality, they are company creating a stronger ecosystem. So if trees rely on one another to such an extent, what about us humans? Are we recognizing and harnessing the power of our own invisible network? I'm talking about our network of relationships, family, friends, colleagues, and community. That is our human version of the Wood Wide Web. In my own life, and likely in yours too, no success has come from complete isolation. When I started this YouTube channel, I received enormous encouragement from my family, sincere advice from experienced friends, and occasionally collaboration from colleagues in the field. They didn't directly make videos with me, but their encouragement, conversations, and shared experiences were the energy and nutrients that helped me keep growing. Those are the invisible fungal threads connecting us. The lesson from symbiosis in nature is truly profound. Success is not a zero-sum game. Your success does not require someone else's failure, and vice versa. In a healthy forest, each thriving tree helps create better conditions for the entire ecosystem. A diverse forest, where trees are deeply interconnected through fungal networks, is more resilient to disease, fires, and climate change. Similarly, in human society, when we help others grow by sharing knowledge, experiences, or simply offering timely encouragement, we help make our community, our social ecosystem, stronger. A community where people rise and develop together creates more opportunities for everyone, ourselves included. Helping others grow is also helping ourselves. I've experienced this many times. When I willingly share, I receive much in return, often opportunities I could never have created alone. And don't think that only grand actions matter. Just like the tiny fungal threads connecting an entire forest, each small action we take affects the social ecosystem around us. A sincere thank you, a smile, a check-in message, a small favor for a struggling colleague, or simply taking time to listen to a friend, all of these, though seemingly small, are building and strengthening our invisible network. They are tiny drops of water that, together, form a powerful current that nourishes an entire ecosystem. We live in a world more connected than ever, yet at times we feel more isolated than ever before. More than ever, we need to recognize and cherish the power of interdependence. Be proactive in building and nurturing your network. Be willing to help and share. Remember that your success is not just your personal story, it is an integral part of the larger story of your community's success, of all of us. Because, just like trees in a forest, we do not exist alone. We are part of an invisible network, where true strength lies in connection and mutual support. Chapter 3: Storms and Adaptation, Wisdom from Adversity. If in previous chapters we immersed ourselves in the poetic beauty and harmony of nature and its hidden laws of life, today I want to look with you at another aspect, perhaps more difficult, but one that brings the most valuable lessons when nature faces storms. Together, we will open Chapter 3, Storms and Adaptation Wisdom from Adversity. Our goal is to learn from how nature not only survives, but also thrives through seemingly apocalyptic trials, storms, wildfires, and harsh droughts. We will explore resilience and extraordinary recovery. Picture a fierce storm, howling winds, trees being uprooted. Mighty ancient trunks that once seemed unshakable bend, then snap when the wind grows too strong. Yet there is one plant that, though slender, stands firm in the midst of raging gales: bamboo. Bamboo does not confront the wind head-on. It bends. It bows low, hugging the earth, sometimes seeming as though it might be flattened entirely. But when the storm passes, it slowly rises again, standing tall as if nothing has happened. This is the power of flexibility, of adaptability. Bamboo teaches us that sometimes softness and the ability to bend under pressure are stronger than rigidity and resistance. The same is true in our lives. At times, stubbornness and trying to fight everything only exhaust us, or worse, break us. Can we learn to bend like bamboo, to get through challenges instead of confronting them head-on? From storms, let's move to another disaster that seems even more devastating: wildfires. When flames roar through, they leave behind ash and desolation, a scene of destruction that looks irredeemable. A vibrant forest suddenly becomes a blackened land of death. But did you know that fire is not only destructive? For many ecosystems, especially in certain regions of Australia and North America, fire is essential for regeneration. The seeds of some tree species only germinate when exposed to the intense heat of fire. Charred bark releases nutrients back into the soil, and ash becomes a rich source of nourishment, returning to the earth what was taken. Just weeks later, from those ashes, the first green shoots emerge, stronger and lusher than before. The regenerated forest often has more vigorous life and greater biodiversity. This teaches us that the most painful crises, the seemingly unbearable losses, can sometimes be the very conditions needed to clear the way for new, more powerful growth. Like a forest cleansed by fire, we may need profound shocks to let go of what is old and no longer fitting, making room for what is better. We are purified, renewed, and learn to appreciate the new shoots of life after the storm. Speaking of harsh conditions, there is no place harsher than the desert. There, we find a master of survival and growth: the cactus. Under blazing sun and chronic water scarcity, cacti still stand tall, impossibly green and alive. They not only survive, they grow, flower, and bear fruit. How? Cacti have an extraordinary ability to store water in their bodies, like giant reservoirs. Their thick skin and sharp spines not only protect them from thirsty animals, but also minimize water loss. Their root systems spread wide to capture every drop of moisture they can find. The lesson here is the importance of storing resources, both material and emotional, so we can endure the driest, hardest seasons of life. It is about preparation, perseverance, and the ability to protect ourselves in harsh environments. Like the cactus, we must learn to conserve energy, shield ourselves from harmful influences, and be creative in finding and preserving sources of nourishment. So what are these three stories of bamboo, wildfire, and cacti telling us? When faced with adversity, our natural reaction is often confusion, anger, and that burning question: why is this happening to me? We easily fall into a victim mindset, feeling wronged and believing the whole world is against us. But nature offers us another approach, a wise perspective. Instead of focusing on injustice and why, try changing the question. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "What is this trying to teach me?" Ask yourself, is this situation asking me to bend like bamboo, to learn flexibility? Is it asking me to be reborn from ashes like a forest after fire, to let go of the old and open to the new? Or is it challenging me to store resources and stand strong like a desert cactus, to endure hardship with steadiness? Every challenge, no matter how great, contains a seed of lesson and opportunity to become stronger, wiser, and more resilient. Adversity is not a full stop, it is a dash, a rough stretch of road leading to a better, more resilient version of ourselves. It is a process of forging, a journey to discover the hidden strengths we never knew we had until we were tested. Wisdom from adversity is a priceless gift that nature offers. It reminds us that resilience is not a privilege reserved for a few, but a skill we can learn and cultivate. We are part of nature, and within each of us lies an indestructible power of adaptation, the ability to overcome and grow even in the harshest conditions. Carry this lesson into your daily life. See your challenges not as obstacles, but as silent teachers. Bend, be reborn, and be steadfast. Thank you for listening. See you in Chapter 4, where we will explore the deep interconnectedness among species and the lessons about community we can learn from nature. Chapter 4, the stillness of the mountain seeking clarity in silence. You know, our modern lives are like a rushing river that never stops. Emails, messages, social media, car horns, stacked deadlines, we are surrounded by sound and motion. Sometimes I ask myself, am I truly living, or just drifting through everything unconsciously? How can I find a solid anchor, a sense of clarity in all this chaos? That is when we need to learn from the mountain. The stillness of the mountain, a lesson in inner solidity. Imagine an ancient mountain. It stands there, towering for thousands of years, witnessing storms, snowfall, sunrises, and sunsets. It is not in a hurry, nor does it react to every gust of wind or raindrop. It simply exists. The mountain's solidity is not rigidity, but an inner peace, a capacity to endure and stand firm despite external turbulence. In life, we are often swept up in fleeting emotions and sudden events. We worry, fear, get angry, rejoice, then feel disappointed again. All of this is like gusts of wind that push and pull us. But if we can learn to be still like the mountain, to find our own center, we will have a place to return to, a place where our soul can rest in unshakable inner stability. It means finding inner peace amid external chaos. Not withdrawing from the world, but having a firm foundation from which to face it. The predator's art of observation, learning to truly see and hear. Now, shift your gaze from the still mountain to a patient predator, a leopard hidden in the grass, an eagle circling in the sky. They are not rushed. They do not skim the surface of their surroundings or multitask. Instead, they spend hours, even days, observing. Every small movement, every whisper of wind, every track on the ground, they notice it all. They have learned to truly see and truly hear, not just to survive, but to become an integral part of their environment. What about us? We scroll our phones hundreds of times a day, look at thousands of images, read hundreds of headlines. But do we truly see anything, or is it just an endless stream of information flowing in and washing right back out? We hear countless sounds, yet how often do we listen to the birds behind the house, the rustling of leaves in a passing breeze, or the patter of raindrops? This deep art of observation has faded in the modern world. It requires patience, focus, and an open heart. When we truly see and truly hear, we do more than collect data, we form deeper connections with the world, notice details we've never seen before, and through that, the world becomes richer and more meaningful. Silence is not emptiness, space for intuition and creativity. When we talk about stillness, many of us feel uneasy with silence. We fear emptiness, we fear facing ourselves. We often fill every gap with noise, music, podcasts, videos, phone calls. We seem to have lost the ability to sit still in silence. But silence is not emptiness. On the contrary, it is a space. It is a blank canvas waiting for brushstrokes, a stage ready for a performance. It is the space needed for your intuition to speak, for breakthrough creative ideas to appear. Amid constant noise, our inner voice, our deepest thoughts, and truest emotions is often drowned out. We do not leave enough quiet for ourselves to listen within. I have experienced this many times. When I am trying to solve a complex problem or find a new idea, simply sitting down in silence, without any distraction, often brings unexpected answers. In those still moments, scattered puzzle pieces suddenly fit together, a spark appears, and everything becomes clear. Silence is a catalyst for profound understanding and boundless creativity. So how can we bring these lessons into our busy lives? One wonderful method I want to introduce to you today is Shinrin-yoku, also known as forest bathing. This is not just an ordinary walk in the woods, but a deliberate experience of deep connection with nature through all your senses. Instead of jogging or power walking with a specific goal, when practicing forest bathing, walk very slowly. Breathe deeply and feel the fresh air. Listen to the rustling of leaves, birdsong and flowing water. Touch rough bark and soft leaves. Smell the damp earth, grass and wildflowers. Don't bring your phone or any electronic device. Let your mind fully merge with the environment around you. Scientific research shows that Shinrin-yoku can reduce stress hormones, lower blood pressure, improve mood, and strengthen the immune system. More importantly, it helps us find stillness and reconnect with ourselves and the natural world we have been missing. You don't need a distant, untouched forest. A green park near your home or a tree-lined path can be your own forest bathing place. In a world that is always noisy and hurried, the power of stillness, patience, and deep observation is a priceless gift from nature. The mountain teaches us solidity. Predatory animals show us how to truly see. And silence opens the door to intuition and creativity. We don't have to withdraw completely from life. We only need to learn how to create pockets of stillness, moments of quiet to restore energy, to listen to our inner voice, and to find clarity in our hearts. Let nature be your guide, leading you to places where peace and wisdom are hidden, waiting for you to discover. Try practicing what we've talked about today. Spend a few minutes in silence, observe something very closely, or find a green space to breathe. I believe you will feel the difference. Chapter 5. The Universe in a Drop of Water, the Beauty of Smallness. Hello everyone. We have journeyed together through explorations of the vast natural world, admiring the majesty of mountains, oceans, and ancient forests. But today, let's narrow the lens a little. Instead of seeking greatness in grand things, we will dive into a world we often overlook, a tiny world that contains an entire universe of its own. This is Chapter 5, The Universe in a Drop of Water, the Beauty of Smallness. You know, I often think that the most valuable lessons do not always come from earth-shaking phenomena or gigantic creatures. Sometimes, we just need to bend down, look a little closer, and a wondrous world unfolds. Let's begin with a familiar image that we often see but rarely truly pay attention to: a colony of ants. Imagine it: a single ant, tiny and seemingly insignificant, fragile. But when thousands and tens of thousands of ants work together, they can build complex underground empires, move objects many times heavier than their own bodies, and create an astonishing social system. I always wonder, what drives them to do that? It is the power of cooperation, of tireless perseverance, and, most importantly, the role of each individual within a common purpose. Every ant, no matter how small, is an indispensable link in the chain of the entire colony's activity. They teach us that no task is too big if each person contributes their share of effort, and no individual is meaningless. Their persistence, from foraging for food to repairing the nest, is a powerful reminder of the value of patience and never giving up. Next, let's contemplate one of nature's most beautiful miracles: the life cycle of a butterfly. From a tiny egg hatches a caterpillar, a creature that seems to know nothing but eating and growing. Then it locks itself into a chrysalis, a stage that appears quiet and directionless. But inside that chrysalis, an extraordinary transformation is taking place. Its body dissolves and is remade, and then one day, a completely new creature, magnificent and full of color, breaks free and takes flight. The life cycle of a butterfly is not just a beautiful story, it is also a powerful metaphor for transformation, shedding old skins, and accepting major changes in our lives. I often think there is no transformation without pain, no metamorphosis without courage. The caterpillar must pass through a dark, lonely chrysalis stage so that one day its brilliant wings can unfold and it can fly freely. This reminds us that the difficult phases, the times we feel trapped in an invisible cocoon, may be precisely the moments when we are preparing for a more beautiful and powerful version of ourselves. And when winter comes, another miracle appears: the snowflake. Did you know that each snowflake is a unique masterpiece? Even as part of a giant blizzard, every single snowflake retains its own distinct pattern. No two snowflakes are exactly alike, even if they fall from the same cloud and experience the same temperature and humidity conditions. The perfection of a snowflake teaches us a profound lesson: every individual is unique and has their own beauty, no matter how small or fragile they may seem. We often tend to compare ourselves with others, to feel we are not good enough, not special enough. But the snowflake tells us that uniqueness itself is beauty. Do not fear your differences. Do not try to become a copy of someone else. Cherish the lines, the patterns, the peculiarities that make you who you are. You are a one-of-a-kind work of art in the universe. These stories, from the ant colony, the butterfly, to the snowflake, all revolve around a common theme: the great beauty and lessons hidden in the smallest things. And this is where I want to encourage you to practice something I call micro-mindfulness. Try this every day for just 5 minutes. Instead of scrolling your phone or letting your thoughts wander aimlessly, find a tiny object in nature around you. It could be a fallen leaf, a budding flower, the veining in a stone along your path, or simply a droplet of dew resting on a branch. Devote those full 5 minutes to observing it closely. Feel its texture, look at its colors, its shape, the details you never noticed before. You will see that simply pausing to contemplate one small detail reconnects you with the surrounding world in a deeper way. You will feel yourself slowing down, your mind becoming calmer, and a strange, gentle sense of peace will seep into your soul. That is how we find an entire universe in a drop of water, and how the beauty of smallness opens new doors in our perception. When we learn to appreciate small things, we realize that the universe is not only out in distant galaxies, but also hidden in each droplet of dew, every grain of dust, every beat of our hearts. All life, whether great or small, carries a story, a lesson, and a beauty worthy of our contemplation. Chapter 6. The flow of the river going with the flow of life. Have you ever spent a peaceful afternoon sitting by a riverbank or a small stream, watching the water continually flow? For me, those moments are always a medicine for the soul. The sound of trickling water, the gentle lapping of waves, or the stillness of a mirror-smooth lake surface all tell a story. Water, in all its forms, from a morning dew drop on a leaf, a clear little stream, and a vibrant, rushing river to the vast ocean, is a great teacher, showing us how to live and how to face life's ups and downs. Water always finds a way, a lesson in flexibility and the ability to find creative solutions. Imagine a river in full flow. It carries immense energy but is never rigid. When faced with a massive boulder or a towering cliff, the river never stops nor tries to shatter it with brute force. It does not complain or rage. Instead, it displays extraordinary flexibility. The water patiently seeps through the smallest cracks, finds a path around, or flows gently over the obstacle if it can, or slowly wears it down over time. Ultimately, water always finds its own way to continue its journey. This is the first and crucial lesson I want us to reflect on: flexibility and adaptability. In life, when we encounter challenges, we often cling to old ways of doing things, to preset plans. When that path is blocked, we easily fall into a state of deadlock and disappointment. But if we learn from water, instead of trying to push against a wall, we step back, shift our perspective, and start searching for other paths. Is there a way around this? Is there a more creative solution? A fresh idea that could open possibilities we never considered? I still vividly remember a time when I was working on a personal project I cared deeply about. Everything went smoothly until I hit a major obstacle. I tried every approach based on my old experience, but nothing worked. I was close to giving up. That night, I watched raindrops fall and imagined flowing water. I asked myself, if I were water, what would I do? The next morning, I decided to let go of my old expectations and seek advice from people with different expertise. And then, a new path opened, not only solving the problem, but also leading to an outcome better than my original plan. That was proof of the power of flexibility, of daring to release the old to find the new, of trusting that there is always a way to. From spring to ocean, accepting that we are part of a larger flow, and every person's journey moves toward connection. Every drop of water begins its journey from the smallest spring on a high mountain. It is an individual, yet never alone. It merges with other droplets to form a stream, then a river. That river continues its journey, winding through fields and cities, and eventually empties into the vast ocean, blending into the immensity. Our lives are the same. We are unique individuals, each with our own dreams, ambitions, and paths. At the same time, we are inseparable parts of a larger flow, a grander tapestry of life. Accepting that we are part of this flow allows us to place ourselves within a broader context. Personal struggles and daily worries can feel overwhelming. But when we look at a great river flowing toward the sea, we see that we are but a small part, a single drop in the ocean. This does not lessen our value or meaning. On the contrary, it brings deep peace and a strong sense of connection. We are not alone. We are moving together through life's current towards some form of unity. For me, feeling this connection is a great comfort. When I feel lost or crushed by personal challenges, remembering that I am part of something far bigger, something that existed before me, and will continue long after me, helps me regain balance. It is the feeling of merging with nature, with community, with the great current of the universe. It helps me view my problems with a gentler attitude, knowing that everything has its reason and its place in the bigger picture. 3. The erosive power of water-gentle perseverance can overcome obstacles that seem immovable. Have you ever held a smooth, polished pebble in your hand from a riverbed? That is the result of thousands of years of water gently wearing it down. Or have you looked at the majestic Grand Canyon, a natural masterpiece carved over millions of years by the patient flow of the Colorado River? That is not the result of one violent blow, but of the power of perseverance, gentle yet unceasing, consistent over time. Each drop of water, each small stream, over the years can reshape an entire landscape. We humans often want quick results and dramatic actions that change everything at once. But water teaches us a different lesson, a lesson in patience, the power of consistency and persistence. Small efforts, repeated day after day, can produce astonishing long-term results. A good habit maintained steadily, a small goal completed each day, all of these are like drops of water patiently wearing down stone. I used to feel very discouraged in the face of a long-term goal so big that I didn't know where to start, feeling too small and weak. Then I remembered the image of smooth pebbles and the saying about steady, persistent effort gradually soaking in and changing things over time. I told myself, just do a little, steadily every day, no need to rush. And amazingly, after many months and years, I looked back and realized I had come a long way, overcoming obstacles I once thought impossible. The results did not come immediately, but those accumulated drops created enormous change. That is living proof of the power of gentle perseverance and of believing in the process, not just the final outcome. 4. Practicing letting go, recognizing what you can and cannot control, and focusing your energy on what you can. This may be the hardest lesson, but also the most valuable one that water offers us. Water flows according to the law of gravity. It does not try to resist gravity, does not attempt to push itself uphill, or preserve its original shape. It goes with the natural order, seeking the path of least resistance, or patiently carving its own path when blocked. Most importantly, water lets go of control. It accepts the shape of its container, yet never loses its essence. We humans often try to control everything around us: work, relationships, the future, even other people's thoughts and feelings. We take on too many responsibilities that are not ours, strain ourselves to fight against what cannot be changed, and end up exhausted, disappointed, anxious, and burdened. Water teaches us that there are things we cannot control, and accepting that is the path to peace. You cannot control the weather, cannot change the past, cannot control other people's thoughts or actions. You cannot control every event that happens in your life. But you can absolutely control how you respond. You can control your attitude, your actions in the present, and most importantly, where you place your precious energy. Practicing letting go does not mean abandoning everything or living aimlessly. It means clearly recognizing the boundary between what you can change and what you cannot. It is about focusing your precious energy on what truly lies within your influence, on actions that bring meaning and positive change. When you release unnecessary burdens and unrealistic expectations, you feel much lighter, like a river that has found a way past a dam and flows freely again, carrying purity and new vitality. I once went through a very difficult period at work, trying to control every aspect of a major project. I was stressed, sleepless, constantly worried. I took everything on myself, believing I had to do it all to make everything perfect. But then I realized that no matter how hard I tried, there were still factors beyond my control. I learned to trust my teammates, to delegate, and to accept that not everything had to be perfect according to my own standard. Choosing to let go of some control not only helped the project succeed more smoothly, but also freed me from crushing pressure. The feeling of lightness and freedom was like a river that finally finds a new channel after being blocked. The flow of a river of water is a wonderful and profound reminder of how we should live. Learn to be flexible like water, seeking new paths when you meet obstacles. Remember that we are part of a greater current, a grand tapestry of life. Persevere gently like water, knowing that small, steady efforts will create great change. And most importantly, practice letting go so your energy is focused on what you can truly influence, so your soul can flow freely, not held back by futile worries. Take a little time today to observe a glass of water, a puddle of rain, or imagine a river in motion. Let these lessons about flexibility, perseverance, and letting go soak into you, so you can move with the flow of life in peace and strength. Chapter 7. Light and darkness, the balance we need. Have you ever stopped and truly observed the world around you? Life emerges, grows, and fades. Day gives way to night, and night opens into a new day. Spring's lushness eventually yields to winter's cold. In nature, nothing exists in isolation, nothing has only one side. Everything comes in pairs, each part of a larger whole. And this lesson about duality, about the inseparable two-sidedness of things, is what we will explore together today, so that we can accept and integrate what we often call the dark parts of ourselves and of life. Let's begin with a familiar example: a tree. We usually look up at the lush green canopy, the bright blossoms, the branches stretching toward the sun to photosynthesize, to create life. That is the light side we easily see and admire, the successes, joys, and radiant moments of our lives. But have you ever asked what keeps a tree standing firm even in storms? What allows it to absorb the nutrients it needs to grow strong? It is the dark part we rarely see: the roots. Roots sink deep into the dark, damp soil, devoid of light. It is in that darkness that the roots can anchor firmly, drawing water and minerals. Without the darkness of the earth, without hiddenness, the tree could not have its brilliant crown above. Likewise, our lives also need both. Sometimes, the hardships, the difficult phases of our lives, those times we feel unstable, lost, lonely, are the necessary darkness in which our soul's roots can push deeper, making us more grounded. It may be when we fail to reach a goal or face a profound loss, but it is in those moments that we learn resilience, self-reflection, and how to discover inner strength we never knew we had. This leads us to the moon's cycle. We are often captivated by the radiant beauty of a full moon, glowing in the night sky. It symbolizes wholeness and perfect beauty. But does beauty only exist in that fullness? Do we overlook the mysterious beauty of the crescent moon, of the new moon? When the moon wanes, when it is just a thin silver curve, or even disappears in a dark sky, these are moments of stillness and regeneration. A waning moon does not mean it is less perfect or less valuable. On the contrary, it is a natural, necessary phase for renewal, preparing for a new cycle. A moonless night is when the sky is darkest, but also when the stars shine brightest, revealing a different beauty, a different grandeur that a full moon might conceal. We are like that too. There are times in our lives when we shine brightly, recognized by others, like a full moon. But there are also times when we feel like a crescent moon, incomplete, stepping back to reflect. Or even like a new moon, when everything seems quiet, and a new beginning is germinating in the dark. All those phases have their own beauty and meaning. All are parts of a larger journey. Learn to appreciate each moment and each phase of your life, not only when you are at your peak, but also when you are quietly building and gathering. If trees have roots that need darkness, and the moon has its waxing and waning, then darkness itself is not an enemy, but a place of rest, recovery, and the source of unrealized potential. Since ancient times, darkness has been associated with fear, danger, and evil. We often want to chase it away, to seek light at all costs. But consider a different view. Darkness is not an enemy, it is a silent friend. It is when our bodies rest and recover after a long day. It is when our minds can be still, not overstimulated by too much information. In darkness, seeds are sown, new ideas take shape, and dreams are woven. Many creatures are most active at night, exploring the world in ways that daytime cannot show. For us, the moments of stillness and retreat, the times we feel like we are in the dark of our lives, are not regression. They may be the best times for self-reflection, for healing wounds, for learning, and for preparing a stronger rise. Like a chrysalis, darkness is where the caterpillar hides, unseen and unknown, yet undergoing a miraculous transformation so that one day, a completely new, beautiful, and radiant creature can take wing. From these natural images, what lesson can we draw for our own lives? It is an invitation to face and accept difficult emotions and the parts we often call the dark side of our inner world. Sadness, fear, anger, disappointment, jealousy, these are not enemies to be fought or hidden away. With a defensive instinct, we often try to avoid these uncomfortable feelings. We push them down, pretend they don't exist, or escape through unhealthy means. But look at nature. Rain must fall, storms must come, winter must be cold. No storm lasts forever, and no winter fails to give way to spring. Difficult emotions are the same. They are an inevitable part of being human. They are messages and signals from within, telling us something needs attention, understanding, and care. Sadness teaches us about loss and the value of what we once had. Fear warns of danger and activates our survival instinct. Anger may signal that our boundaries are being crossed or our values challenged. When we accept these emotions and allow ourselves to feel them without judgment, we see they are not as terrifying as we imagined. They pass, leaving behind valuable lessons and growth. Accepting our own darkness is not endorsing negativity. It is understanding that you are a whole being containing both light and shadow, joy and sorrow, strength and vulnerability. Like a tree that needs both sunlight and the darkness of the soil to stand firm. Like the moon needing both its fullness and its waning to complete its cycle. Like the night needing darkness to reveal the beauty of the stars. So the message chapter 7 wants to send you is simple but profound: trust that whatever life brings you, radiant light or deep darkness, it is all part of this beautiful journey. Don't run from the darkness within you or in your life. Embrace it, learn from it, and you will see that in the balance between light and darkness, you truly find peace and the full strength of who you are. Thank you for listening. We will meet again in the next chapter of Nature. May you always keep balance in your life. Chapter 8. The Legacy of the Seed Planting for the Future. Imagine a peaceful moment. In the palm of your hand lies a tiny seed. It might be an acorn, an apple seed, or a young pine seed. Small, seemingly lifeless, yet inside it holds an entire universe of potential. One day, if planted, cared for, and nurtured, that seed will grow into a tree. Not just any tree, but possibly a mighty one, standing firm through many seasons of rain and sun, witnessing generations come and go. This simple story of a seed carries a profound philosophy about our lives and the legacy we will leave behind. Every action we take today, big or small, visible or invisible, is like a seed we are planting. A kind word you offer a stranger, a decision to protect the environment, your effort to learn something new, or even how you treat yourself each day, these are all seeds. We are planting these seeds not only for our own future, but also for the future of the world and our community. These actions may seem small and insignificant now, but their latent power can change a destiny. You know, there are ancient trees that have stood for hundreds or even thousands of years. Think of such an old tree, with rough bark and a vast crown that shades a whole patch of sky. It is not just a huge mass of wood. Its true legacy is the wide shade it has given countless travelers who stopped to rest. It is the safe shelter it has provided for thousands of living creatures, from birds to insects, a home to countless animal families. It is the pure oxygen it releases every day, nourishing the air we breathe. It is its roots, sunk deep into the earth, holding soil and water, sustaining life for an entire stable ecosystem. And beyond that, it is an inexhaustible source of inspiration for those who gaze upon it, a symbol of resilience and the eternal cycle of life. The legacy of a tree is not what it possesses, but what it creates and gives to the surrounding world. Likewise, our legacy is not just what we leave behind in possessions or empty reputation. Our true legacy is the shade, the refuge, the inspiration, and the core values we create for those around us and for future generations. It is the positive imprint, the good seeds we etch into this life so they continue to sprout and grow even when we are no longer here. When we think about the world's big problems, we may easily feel overwhelmed and powerless. Climate change, social injustice, poverty. These burdens seem far too great for a single small person like us. But nature and the lesson of the seed remind us of something important and liberating. Our responsibility is not to solve every problem in the world. Our responsibility, simpler and more practical, is to be good caretakers of our own garden. What is that garden? It may be your family, the community in which you live and belong, the work you do with passion and responsibility, or the talents and passions you pursue and nurture each day. Our job is to sow good seeds and tend them with love, patience, and responsibility, to water them with knowledge, to protect them from pests with integrity and courage. The garden doesn't need to be the largest, it just needs to be well cared for, with true dedication. And the miracle is that when each of us tends our own little garden well, these small gardens connect and weave together into a vast, thriving, and vibrant landscape for society as a whole. Within each of us lies the ability to plant and nurture. The final question I want you to reflect on today, as we close this chapter, is one I often ask myself, and hope you will also ask yourself. What seeds do you want to plant for future generations? What do you want your legacy to be? Seeds of kindness, of courage, of knowledge, of sharing, or of a fierce love for nature? Give yourself a quiet moment to truly think about this, because in that moment, a decision will take shape, and a new planting journey will begin. Whatever it may be, always remember that the strength of a mighty, towering tree, no matter how great, always begins with a small, humble seed. Likewise, the power of a better, brighter future begins with our small choices and seemingly simple actions in each present moment. Place firm trust in the latent power of the seeds you are sowing today. Patiently care for them with all your heart, with sincere attention and steadfast responsibility. Because one day, sooner or later, they will rise strong, not only bearing sweet fruits for your own life, but also casting wide shade to shelter others and providing an endless source of life for generations who may never know you existed. That is the true meaning of legacy, the most precious gift nature wants us to understand, cherish, and strive to fulfill throughout our lives. Thank you for spending your precious time journeying with me through this meaningful chapter. I look forward to seeing you again in the next explorations with the book Nature. Wishing you a wonderful day filled with inspiration to plant and nurture. 7-day action plan, bringing nature into your life. We have explored together the wonderful pages about nature, about how it nourishes the soul and brings peace to our hectic modern lives. After listening, what now? How do we make sure that this knowledge and inspiration does not just stay on the page, but truly seeps into every corner of our lives? That is exactly why I want to give you a 7-day action plan that is extremely simple and easy to implement. You don't need to go far, and you don't need to be a born nature lover. Just a bit of openness, a bit of curiosity, and I believe that after these 7 days, you will feel a remarkable change from within. Our goal is to bring nature into everyday life, little by little. Get ready, we'll start right now. Day 1 and Day 2, 10 minutes of silent observation. I know many of you might think, oh, I live in the city, where would I find nature? Don't worry. On the first and second day, we'll start with something so simple anyone can do it. Each day, just set aside 10 minutes, sit quietly by your window, or if you have a balcony, even better, step outside. The goal here is not to look for something grand or spectacular. It is simply to observe and listen. No judging. Just let everything unfold naturally. What can you see? It might be a lush green leaf swaying in the wind, or a drop of dew still clinging to the edge of a leaf in the morning. It could be a sparrow hopping around, searching for food on a bare branch, or a white cloud floating across a deep blue sky. Even things that seem familiar like sunlight streaming through a crack in the door, or tiny raindrops clinging to the window pane can become more vivid when we truly pay attention to them. And listen. What do you hear? Birds chirping, the wind rustling through the leaves, or even the distant noise of traffic. This too is part of the world around us. Let those sounds pass through, without clinging, without analyzing. Simply acknowledge their existence. When I first tried this exercise, I was living in a high-rise apartment in the city center. I thought I would see nothing but concrete buildings. But no, I was surprised to notice a tiny tree trying to grow out of a crack in the wall opposite. I saw pigeons perched on power lines, clouds changing shape non-stop. Those 10 minutes were not just about looking, they were moments of stillness, helping me reset my mind after a long day. Give it a try. Day 3 and Day 4 touching the earth and connecting. After 2 days of observing, it's time for us to actually touch nature. We will practice what I like to call grounding. This is a way to awaken the senses and feel a physical connection with the natural world. What can you do? First, if possible, walk barefoot on grass. The feeling of soft grass brushing against your soles, or cool earth embracing your skin, is a kind of primal connection we often overlook. Even if it's just a small patch of grass in a nearby park, or even artificial turf if you have no other choice. The goal is to awaken the senses in the soles of your feet. Second, touch the trunk of a tree. Choose a tree that you feel drawn to. Gently touch its rough bark, feel the natural grain of the wood, its cracks, its patches of moss and lichen. Every tree is a story, a long history etched into its trunk. Breathe deeply and sense the energy from it. Third, if you don't have a yard or a park nearby, a great option is to care for a small potted plant. It could be a basil plant on your windowsill, a cute little succulent, or a trailing pothos. Spend a little time watering it, trimming leaves, or simply watching it grow. The act of caring for this tiny living being brings a very different feeling, a deep and meaningful sense of connection. I remember once planting a small chili plant from seed. Every day I watched it, waiting for each tender new leaf to appear, then tiny buds, and finally bright red chilies. That process taught me patience, the miracle of life, and the joy of nurturing something. Day 5 and Day 6 recording moving moments. We have observed and we have touched. Now it's time to go deeper by recording and cherishing what nature gives us. In these 2 days, I'd like you to capture something in nature that surprised or moved you. It doesn't need to be a work of art. You can write a few lines in a journal, on a small piece of paper, or even in a note on your phone. Describe how you felt, what made you pause and notice. For example, today I saw a tiny ant trying to carry a piece of bread many times its size. I was amazed by its strength and persistence. Draw if you have some skill, quickly sketch a tree, a flower, or the shape of a cloud. If not, a simple doodle is perfectly fine. What matters is the act of putting your feelings onto paper. Take a photo. A simple phone photo is enough. Capture the moment you found beautiful, peaceful, or surprising. It could be golden sunset light through the leaves, or a butterfly perched on a flower. Recording these moments doesn't just help you keep memories, it also trains you to pay more attention to the small details you might previously have ignored. It is a way to truly pause, breathe, and notice the beauty around you. It's also how you create a personal collection of your own nature moments. I still keep the photos I took of wildflowers along a hiking trail. Every time I look back at them, I recall the freedom and peace of that day. Day 7, sharing a lesson. And finally, the 7th day, the day of connection and sharing. After a week of practice, you will surely have your own experiences and feelings about nature. I want you to share one lesson you learned from nature this week with a friend. It can be a family member, a colleague, or anyone you feel comfortable talking to. It doesn't need to be a formal lecture, just a natural conversation. For example, you might say this week, I tried spending 10 minutes by the window every day, and I realized that just watching the clouds float by helped me feel much less stressed. Or, I've been caring for a small plant on my balcony, and I've found that it makes me more patient and happier too. Or, I took a really beautiful photo of a bird singing outside my window. It reminded me that sometimes, beauty is right there in the simplest things. This act of sharing not only helps reinforce what you've learned, but can also inspire others. We are social beings, and connecting with each other through positive experiences is incredibly valuable. You're not only bringing nature into your own life, but also planting a love of nature in someone else's heart. So there you have it, a simple 7-day plan, easy to do, suitable for everyone and every situation. I believe that with just these small steps, you'll begin to feel positive changes in your soul and in how you see the world around you. Nature is not something distant and grand that we can only admire through screens or expensive trips. Nature is part of us, and we are part of nature. Start this journey today. And don't forget to share your experience in the comments. I'm really eager to hear your stories. See you in the next video. 3 key points: the essence of nature. After a long journey exploring the deep meanings that the book nature brings, we have touched many aspects from primal connection to the precious lessons nature offers. Now, before we say goodbye, I want to summarize 3 core messages, 3 main points that I believe will stay with you the longest and deepest. Consider these as jewels you can carry with you on your life's journey. Key point 1: you are a part of nature, not someone separate from it. Return to your roots to find yourself. In this hectic modern life, we sometimes forget a self-evident but profoundly important truth: we are not beings standing outside of nature, observing it. We are nature. Every breath you take, every heartbeat, is intimately connected to the world around you. When you feel lost, empty, or exhausted, it may be a sign that you've lost connection with your inner natural roots. The book Nature reminds us that, just as a tree needs the earth to root itself, we too need to connect with our primal essence, with the eternal flow of life. Think about this when you place your bare feet on lush grass, or breathe in the fresh air of the mountains and forests. Do you feel a spreading sense of peace? That is not just because the scenery is beautiful. It is because a deep part of you is coming home. Returning to your roots doesn't have to mean a long trip to a remote forest or a distant sea. It can be a few minutes a day spent looking at a tree outside your window, listening to birdsong, or simply watching clouds drift by. That is when you peel away the artificial layers that urban life has draped over you, touching the most instinctive, innocent part of yourself. This connection brings a sense of belonging, a hard-to-describe serenity that helps you understand more clearly who you are and what you want. It is a reminder that we are not alone. We are always being held and nourished by something greater than ourselves. Let nature guide you back to yourself, to your most original and fresh core. Key point 2: change, adversity, and even darkness are necessary teachers on the journey of growth. Learn to embrace them. We all wish for a smooth, peaceful life filled with sunshine. We usually avoid hardship, fear darkness, and worry about change. But nature gives us a very different lesson. You see, the cold of winter is necessary for trees to gather energy and prepare for spring's budding and blossoming. Violent storms, though destructive, wash the air clean and bring essential water for life. In nature, nothing stands still. Everything moves, changes constantly, and it is through this change that life is renewed and thrives. The book Nature teaches us that hardships and challenges in our lives are like those winters and storms, necessary seasons. They do not come to punish us, but to temper us. Like a river that encounters rocks and rapids, it keeps flowing and winding, and those very obstacles help it carve deeper into the ground, shaping a unique and enduring form. When facing difficulties, we are forced to seek inner strength we never knew we had, to learn adaptability, and to be creative in overcoming them. Darkness works the same way. It is not just the absence of light. It is also the space where we turn inward, facing our weaknesses and fears. Only by daring to acknowledge and accept these aspects can we grow in a complete way. Embracing change, adversity, and darkness does not mean you must love them. It means you learn to see them as strict but necessary teachers. Ask yourself, what lesson is waiting for me in this situation? Or how can I be stronger after overcoming this challenge? This attitude transforms seemingly negative things into firm stepping stones on the path of self-development, making you more resilient, deeper, and more understanding of life. Key point 3. The greatest wisdom is often found in stillness and small things. Live more slowly, observe more closely, and listen more deeply. In a world full of noise, with information pouring in and pressure to do everything quickly, we often overlook what truly matters. We search for greatness in big, flashy things and distant goals. But nature shows us something completely different. Its wisdom does not lie in the roaring thunder of waterfalls or the majesty of towering peaks. It lies in the stillness of early morning, in the patience of a leaf slowly turning yellow, in the delicacy of a dewdrop on a spiderweb. The book Nature invites us to slow down. Take a deep breath in and exhale slowly. Instead of rushing, pause and observe. Have you ever spent a few minutes just watching an ant carry food, or listening to the steady rhythm of falling rain? In those small, seemingly trivial moments, we can find an entire universe of philosophy. The ant's diligent work without complaint, without quitting, teaches us perseverance. The steady fall of raindrops reminds us of the cycle of life and death, of balance. Listening more deeply is not just about external sounds. It is listening to your own inner voice, to intuition, to the subtle messages your body and soul are trying to send. In stillness, our minds are cleansed of clutter and worry, giving space for deep insights and fresh creative solutions to arise. That is when we connect to the instinctive wisdom, the natural intelligence that has always existed within us. Allow yourself to live more slowly, to breathe, to carefully observe the small things around you. You will be surprised to find that it is in these ordinary moments that your deepest understandings and greatest inspirations suddenly appear, illuminating your path. Wisdom does not always come from thick books or noisy forums. Very often, it lives right in the present moment, waiting for you to be calm enough to notice it. So, these 3 messages are not for you to reflect on once and then forget. They are guiding stars for you to carry, to experiment with, to live by. They are reminders that, no matter how chaotic life becomes, you always have a source of strength and a well of wisdom to lean on and draw from. Let nature, not just as a book, but as a philosophy of life, soak into every step you take. Thank you for journeying with me. I hope that after this video, you will find a bit of peace, a bit of connection, and a bit of wisdom from nature right within your own life. See you again in future sharings. And so, we have traveled together through a deep journey across each page, where we have found not only knowledge about the natural world, but also soul-deep resonance, whispers from Earth itself. We have contemplated the wondrous connections between all things, the healing power of a green leaf, a clear stream, or the morning sun. Now that the seeds of understanding have been sown in your mind and heart, the best thing we can do is not let them sleep. Let's turn those seeds into gardens of change and endless inspiration, not just for ourselves, but also for those around us. This is the moment for us to spread the seeds of wisdom. First, I have always believed that each of us carries a unique story, a personal imprint with nature. It could be a memory of an afternoon wandering in a forest, breathing in the scent of damp earth after rain, or listening to the symphony of insects on a quiet summer night. Maybe it is a moment you noticed the resilience of a tree standing firm in the storm, and suddenly found your own inner strength. That's why I genuinely want to hear from you, from kindred hearts. Scroll down to the comments and share honestly what lesson from nature has truly touched you, changed the way you see life, or even shaped who you are today. It might be a small moment, a gentle reminder, or a profound awakening that shook your worldview. I believe that when you share your story, you are not only opening up a part of yourself, but also planting a new seed of inspiration stirring thoughts, and unexpected connections for others reading those comments. If you feel that this video has given you a much-needed moment of stillness, a space to reflect and explore, or simply joy in walking with me through these wise pages, don't forget to hit like. That's how you let me know we're on this journey together, and it is a priceless motivation for me to keep creating deeper, more meaningful content. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do it now. Our journey doesn't stop here. I have many new book explorations and intellectual adventures waiting for us ahead, from ancient philosophies to modern perspectives, and I truly don't want you to miss any moment of awakening and connection. In the rushing current of modern life, we can easily be swept into the spiral of work and worries, and end up feeling disconnected from ourselves, from others, and especially from our natural roots. If you know someone going through this sense of stuckness, someone searching for a little peace, a space to breathe deeply, to listen to their inner voice, and to reconnect with the boundless beauty of nature, don't hesitate to share this video with them. One small action from you, a single click, a message sent, might be the doorway that opens a whole world of stillness, fresh inspiration, and healing for a friend or loved one who needs it. Let's spread this positive energy together. And finally, for the seeds of wisdom we've just planted to truly sprout, grow, and bear fruit in the garden of your life, I've designed a simple but highly effective 7-day action plan. This plan focuses on helping you reconnect with nature in the smallest ways, easy to weave into your busy daily schedule. It might be just 5 minutes in the morning to look at a tree outside your window, listen to birdsong, or simply place your hand on a tree trunk and feel life flowing within it. I strongly encourage you to challenge yourself with this plan in the coming week. After 7 days, I hope you'll come back here to this or another video on the channel, or find me on other social platforms and share your genuine experience. How did you feel after a week of deeper connection with nature? Were there any surprises, small changes in your soul, or shifts in how you see the world? These stories are not just your own. They will become a powerful source of motivation and vivid proof of nature's power, inspiring our entire community to move forward together. Let's transform the wonderful knowledge from books and the majestic yet gentle beauty of nature into a living part of our lives, a positive source of energy that flows through everything we do. I am deeply grateful that you have walked with me on this meaningful journey. I look forward to seeing you in the next intellectual adventures and fresh pages ahead. Until then, keep a wide open mind, a heart that loves nature, and a spirit ready to welcome every miracle life brings. Goodbye, and see you again.